So notice with number 1, I not only listed the answers out, but also gave hopefully a good justification. It did ask for you to justify your answers, so make sure you're doing that. Don't just list the answers. Don't just list the numbers out. Make sure you give good reasoning. I know sometimes the one thing that gets kind of lost within the reasoning, sometimes people will forget to put this right here. What do those two things prove?
That it's a critical point.
That it's actually a critical point, and it kind of directly implies continuity, which is necessary as well. So you do need it in there somewhere, have proof that you found critical points, and then you can talk about it prime changing from negative to positive or positive to negative. So there's number 1. So what do you think? Questions? Anything I can clarify for you? Sure. Yep, not a problem. I didn't even know it was PJ Day.
What is tomorrow?
I got an email this morning at like 10 that said, hey, Wednesday through Friday is some kind of a spirit day. And I'm like,
Half Spirit Week.
It's hippie day.
Tomorrow's hippie day.
hippie day. So a lot of times I don't dress that because either A, I'm not really going to dress in my jammies. That's just weird. I personally think that's strange. And then, and I don't really have hippie clothes, and I'm certainly not going to go buy any hippie clothes just for that. Yeah. As long as they stink. If they smell bad. Okay, there's 2 and 3. So number 2, of course. Number 2 is where some of the values, we might disagree slightly on some of the values. So for instance, I thought it was negative infinity to negative 2.2. You might have thought it was like negative 2.1 or something. That's fine. I put in there, you're supposed to estimate the interval. So the inflection points then should go along nicely with your estimated interval numbers there for 2. And then of course I've attempted to give good justifications for those. And then number 3, I used, I have a good setup up there, and then I used Math 9 to evaluate that definite integral. And that's where I came up with my answer with units.
I was thinking that from 0 to 2 was just from 0 to 1.
I can't wait for the test.
I didn't look at the
next Tuesday. I know, it's like a
So guys, questions. So please don't be afraid to ask anything. Something seems inconsistent or confusing, or honestly, I think some of the best questions start off with the phrase, I thought it was this, but you put that. I think some of the best questions start off that way because we're addressing some sort of a misconception, right? We're working on it. So please don't be afraid to say that you expected something different.
For number 3, is it okay instead of writing the ln of t squared?
Yep, totally fine. In fact, encourage. It's slightly shorter. Up to you though. I'll take either one. Right now all we're doing is comparing, thinking about questions we might want to ask.
I had to take pictures of this set.
What? Math 9 going okay there? So if you're looking for the average value of something, this is what we did. You can look back on day 1 for Unit 6. This expression will give you the average value of whatever f of x is. So if f of x happens to be a velocity, like in this case, that whole thing would give you the average velocity. If f of x is like number of cookies, this would give you the average number of cookies. It'll just give you the average value of whatever x happens.
So it's just.
Why would you go to the middle of the house? That's just
And we talk, you do want to know that. And so we talk, I can't do it.
I
Yeah.
just did not remember.
Look, it's
Yeah, and that's what I will do. If you did forget, you would say, well, try to add everything else, which is an integral.
Oh, you can just go. Oh, yeah.
And then divide.
Ready?
Wow.
For sure. Can I address that with everybody? Okay. Hey guys, listen up. Really good question got brought up. So, hey guys, hey. This might be one of those situations where you think you have this down, then I show you what I'm about to show you, and you think, but wait, what? Now I'm confused. So I'm going to bring up a potential confusion, and we'll try to alleviate it, right? So I'm going to rewrite this just a little bit, like actually how Ali suggested. Couldn't I write it like this, where I write 1 over 10 minus 3 integral from 3 to 10 of v of t dt, right? So Reed just said, hey, would this be equivalent to, right? Would this be equivalent to v of 10 minus v of 3 over 10 minus 3? Why would that not be the case? Yeah, the antiderivative with the tall skinny s thing. Yeah, but then that would get kind of confusing what that actually meant. What could we? So it says that this object is moving along the x-axis. So how could I rewrite this so that it would be correct? No. Oh, wait a minute. What would I put in? You said x prime. Where would I put the x prime? Okay, that's fine. So are we in agreement that v and x prime are the same? This is the way it's currently written right now is still wrong. Okay, that's it. So it would be x of 10 minus x of 3, because the antiderivative of v would be x, right? The antiderivative of x prime would be x. So this would give you x of 10 minus x of 3 over 10 minus 3. And really, by the way, if you were in like a basic physics class or maybe an algebra 2 class or something, and they said, find the average velocity over some interval, wouldn't you go final position minus initial position over change in time? Like delta x over delta t or delta y over delta t? Isn't that what that is? But because we were given a velocity, we had to use the integral to help us find this average velocity. And that's why it would end up being this way. But it's one and the same. It really, truly is. That's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. I was hoping somebody would say something about that. I appreciate that. What else? Is there anything else I can help you with? Okay, so none of you are looking at me, so that tells me you've moved on. You're good? Okay, so I'm going to do something just a little bit out of the ordinary. I've got two sort of announcement-y sort of things.
Well, you have to do 50 plus 1 over 12. Remember, you have to put the 50 on the outside.
How many were removed, not how many are there? And it's also from 1 to 12.
Sure. So guys, C wanted to know the absolute maximum number on the interval from 0 to 12. Or it should say, guys, it shouldn't say maximum number of bananas. It should say maximum number of pounds of bananas. So put pounds in there. Sorry. So you had to consider critical points and endpoints. So what I did is I set the net rate equal to 0. And I know from the other class they said that, hey, there are more places where the net rate is 0 than what I listed up there. There should be 3 more. So what I did here, it didn't say anything about you got to consider all the candidates and list them all out or anything like that. So those other 3 candidates are places where the net rate goes from negative to positive, which would indicate a relative minimum, which could never be the max. So I just ignored those. I didn't even include those in my analysis. I only included the 2 possible maximums. And so then I didn't write my integrals up there either, but there would need to be 3, you'd probably use 3 different integrals if you did exactly what I did to get the amounts at the 2 critical points in the 12.
Would they be integrals like that up there?
Exactly, it'd be like B. Exactly right. So you'd go 50 minus the amount that was removed plus the amount that was added. And each time you'd want to be careful that you started your amount added integral at 3. So 3 to that 8.826, 3 to the 10.958, so on and so forth.
Wait, you can't consider anything before the 3?
Not for
They don't start
GFT.
adding them until 3 hours.
Yeah, the critical points don't start until like 5 or 6 or something like that. I don't remember. So yeah, prior to 3, you would not need to consider the GFT, right?
Yeah.
So thankfully none of those critical points were between the 0 and the 3. So you didn't have to even really make that decision. So as you start to look these over and you think, all right, I'm ready to move on, feel free to look at the escalator question. I think there are parts of the escalator question, which is number 2. You might be able to get a couple of parts of them done in just a couple of minutes. So as we start to wrap this up, maybe in the last minute I'll flash some answers up there. There'll be a part of the video. Some of you all like to take pictures of it and stuff, and that's fine. But if you're good with the bananas question, check out the escalator question. Let me know if you have any questions about the bananas.
So for 2A, would I be using like the average?
Or does it tell you to do an average anything?
It's just like how many people enter. Oh wait.
It's interesting when you read it out loud.
Yeah.
It started to make more sense. Carefully read it.
Wouldn't you just do the integral right there?
It's definitely.
Yeah, well, and notice it says how many people enter. So what would we just ignore here?
How many people
Yeah, how many people exited? We're not concerned about that. What else would we ignore?
20?
The 20. The 20 doesn't matter. We just want to know how many people got into the
Don't
line.
we don't even know how many people leave. Yeah, we do. That function.
No, there are. Wait.
0.7.
But like this is just people entering.
Yep, that's just people entering. And it's piecewise because they're saying after 300 seconds, it stops. Yep.
Wouldn't you just do 0 to 300 of R3?
So for A, what do you think about A is not asking how many people are there. A is asking how many
How many people are in line?
What you've set up there is kind of being how many people are in the line. You're closer.
Oh, so it doesn't know.
The 20 doesn't matter.
I got 270.
Make sure you have a DT on the end of that.
Exactly.
How much is it?
270.
Yep.
Well, that makes sense because you think we're going to be 270.6
Why is what
people.
negative?
Well,
Why are you so
Negative is
fast?
a problem, Mary.
I mean, we have had like half people. We've had like 0.45, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 people.
That's a continuous function, which means they have to be. There has to be like
has to be decimals.
Because like your toe could just enter. It's part of a person. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's continuous.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have
An infinite
always
number.
in between 270 and 269.
I got the second one. Let me know if you
That's
feel
part of the
that.
point.
I still have the
Look
answer.
at you getting ahead.
Well, I know I have to retake a quiz tomorrow morning, so I don't want to study like 4 hours. Well, I'm genuinely pretty sure that it works.
Tomorrow's one of the days.
I 100% will work.
It's only in the morning tomorrow.
Like it's but we can't do a connection every day. Can we?
Not Wednesdays.
More Mondays.
And then do we? What lunch do you get? We're saying connection.
We don't pick a connection and ask you
So you just offer this connection to
Weird, it's so hard to see. It's hard to see something.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot.
Okay.
Friday lunch now.
Yeah, Steve,
Hey guys, we're into our last minute here. Here's a list of answers for the escalator. This is all part of the video, so if you wanted to look back through here, you could. First one should be 270. You only need to do the integral.
Why do you do D of T on the B?
Why do you do what?
Do you DMT on
Negative minus 0.7. Oh, you keep that all in the interval?
Yeah, shouldn't you have DMT? No.
I just.
Are we looking at C?
I did.
You can separate.
I ended this. Forgot to put the DT there and then this out and then times T.
If you had minus 0.7 T evaluated from 0 to 300, yeah. So have to evaluate from 0 to 300. That would work fine. So guys, you are all free to go at this point. I'll just leave this up for you to do with what you want. It's a part of the video. You can take a picture. It's all good. Yes, ma'am.
How did you go from second equals 114 just to 14?
Yeah, so 80 minus 0.7 T.
Yeah.
So this is just time past 300, right? Because 80 is the number of people at 300.
Yep.
And so that 114 would be the time beyond 300.
Right.
So for T greater than 300, that means my answer has to be greater than 300.
Oh, you added.
I just added 300. Yeah. There's probably other ways to do that that are a little more slick on the back end. This makes sense on the front end, I guess.
Dude, I was writing an essay in class, so. I feel so bad.
Mr. Anderson, can I come in after school and work on some stuff?
Today?
Yes.
So today is a tough day. Today is the one day where I pick up my daughter and she does piano. So I usually leave here at like 3:25.
Okay.
So I'd have like 10 minutes, but Wednesday afternoons are the only afternoon that doesn't usually work very well. The other afternoons are fine.
What are you doing during this period now?
I'm grading your guys' retry quizzes.
Okay.
So, but you're still welcome to work on things. Like, what did you want to work on?
Well, I just wanted to, needed some help with like substitution and some things on.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll do my best to kind of multitask, but I had set this period aside
No,
to.
I want to respect that too.
So thank you. Because if I don't grade those things on time, that pile would be out of control. I would just be like, I'm going to throw them all away and not grade them. So yeah, so I'll just be in the core room grading. You're welcome to be in there. I can multitask.
All right. Thank you.
Is connection on Thursday and Friday open for?
Yep.